Hi everyone, and welcome to my vlog. I'm going to be talking to you guys today about two ethical frameworks that we have learned about in class over the semester. One of them being the Common Morality Framework, which you probably know like the back of your hand. The other one being utilitarianism. I'm going to be showing you and guiding you on how you can use these to make the decision in the case of Hal. Specifically, I chose that case. Hal is an 88-year-old man living alone in Royal Kentucky. His situation raises big questions on autonomy, safety, aging, and the role of family in decision making. I want to be taking an advocacy-focused stance on allowing Hal to stay in his home and giving him that autonomy. Not only will I be advocating for that, but I'm also going to be advocating for a safety-oriented plan that respects his dignity and independence and helps him with the issues that he's currently having in his home so that he may live by himself as long as possible. Now, to be able to explain this in relation to Hal, I'm obviously going to have to be talking about what they are, right? Because if you're an everyday mundane person and you're not taking this class, then you probably don't even know what the Common Morality Framework is or utilitarianism. So, the Common Morality Framework, it is grounded in moral rules that rational people in any society would generally agree to. So keep that in mind. These include respect for autonomy, avoiding unnecessary paternalism, competence and informed decision-making, publicly allowed actions, and ranking harms and benefits to choose the least harmful option. Now, this framework, it doesn't just ask, what is the rules? What is the genuine consensus that we've agreed on? It is what would a reasonable, informed public allow in this situation, and importantly, it emphasizes alternatives to violating autonomy. So it's going to find all of these ways to go around violating autonomy as long as it's publicly allowed, essentially. Now, on the flip side, utilitarianism, it focuses on maximizing overall well-being and minimizing harm. It considers the greatest good for the greatest number and short-term and long-term consequences and the impact on the client, family, and community. Where common morality centers moral rules and autonomy, utilitarianism centers outcomes and the balance of harms and benefits. So what are some of the pros and cons when it comes to these two ethical frameworks in relation to Hal? The common morality, it protects autonomy and dignity, but may allow risky choices. It encourages the least restrictive environment and helps prevent unnecessary paternalism. However, it can create tension with family members who prioritize safety. For instance, if Hal wants to stay home but his family is really adamant on putting him in a home, that can create tension between them and even cause any certain arguments and things like that to arise and may even result in them cutting themselves off from Hal, which would be very sad. Utilitarianism, on the flip side, encourages broad community-level thinking and supports interventions that reduce preventable harm, but it can justify overriding autonomy if misused. So in this situation, Hal's family could override his decision on wanting to stay home and just tell him, nope, you're going to home, which again still would be sad because then Hal wouldn't be as happy as he is now. Now, let's apply this to Hal and his situation. Using the Common Morality Framework, I advocate for Hal living independently. The harms of doing that so include loss of autonomy, emotional distress, increased depression, disconnection from meaningful routines, and memories. So that is what can happen if we take Hal out of his current environment, and to me that outweighs the risk of him staying home. Hal himself says, if they move me, I'll just give up and die. This is a powerful expression of the harm he anticipates if he moves. Now, some benefits of him staying home include preserving his dignity and identity, supporting mental health, and allowing him to age in a place where he's comfortable in, and maintaining his sense of purpose and familiarity. The moral rules at stake include respect for autonomy and avoiding paternalism. Alternatives to violating autonomy include home-based supports, medication management assistance, safety modifications, increased family or volunteer check-ins, adult day programs, transportation service, and a harm reduction plan for that alcohol and Benadryl use he struggled with. So there's a lot of options that we can use to incorporate into Hal's daily life that will help him live independently, which is why I feel so strongly that is the option we should choose. Now, when we're thinking about utilitarianism in this situation, we can also kind of show how it supports our decision. Utilitarianism, supporting Hal's independence with added services, maximizes well-being for Hal, who maintains his dignity and emotional safety and stability. His family also gain reassurance through structured supports, and the community, which benefit from honoring elders' rights and reducing unnecessary institutionalization. While assisted living may reduce some physical risk, it introduces a significant emotional and psychological harm that outweigh the benefits. So kind of both frameworks go hand in hand and show us or give us like a solidified decision on what we should do. Now, how can we align this with the NASW Code of Ethics? Our decision that we've chosen, which is to allow Hal to live in his home independently with some supports, of course, it aligns with the dignity and worth of the person, self-determination, importance of human relationships, and integrity and competence. The code supports the least restrictive interventions and emphasizes the social workers should not impose their own values on the client. So just because I think that Hal should live in a home because I'm scared for him living by himself does not mean that I should impose that on him. So, what is the central practice issue here? What is going on in the situation that we're battling with? So the practice issue we are dealing with right now is autonomy versus paternalism. Hal is competent, he articulates, and he's aware of his risk, and so overriding his wishes would be unjustified paternalism. Advocacy means supporting decision-making, harm reduction strategies, and safety planning that preserves independence and respects the client's values, history, and identity. So, what should we do as social workers? What should you do as a social worker? What would your decision be based on all of this information I've talked about? In my opinion, with all the information I've given, all of my resources, I think that we should advocate for Hal to remain in his home while building a safety-focused support plan that respects his autonomy and maximizes his well-being. This approach is ethically justified through both the common morality and the utilitarianism. It upholds the core values of social work. Thank you so much for coming to my vlog, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys leave with more information than you came with.